The broadcast of the regular meeting of the Police Conduct Oversight Commission Policy and Procedures Subcommittee will now begin.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Police Conduct Oversight Commission Policy and Procedures Subcommittee meeting for August 26, 2021. I'm Abigail Sarah, the chair of this subcommittee, and I'm going to call this meeting for August 26, 2021 to order. As we begin, I will note for the record that this meeting has remote participation by commissioners and city staff as authorized under Minnesota Statute Section 13D.021 due to the declared local public health emergency. This meeting will be recorded and posted to the city's website and YouTube channel as a means of increasing public access and transparency. This meeting is public and subject to the Minnesota Open Meeting Law. At this time, I will ask the clerk to call the roll so we can verify a quorum for this meeting.
Commissioner Sylvester.
Present.
Commissioner Sarah.
Present. And noting for the record that Commissioner Abdi has resigned from the commission because she did take a job within City Hall. So it's just we two for the moment. Let the record reflect that we have our quorum. Next, we'll proceed to our agenda and minutes from the meeting of July 22nd, 2021. A copy of the agenda has been posted for public access to the city's Legislative Information Management System, which is available at lims.minneapolismn.gov. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda and accept the minutes from the meeting of July 22nd, 2021?
So moved.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Sylvester.
Aye.
Chair Sarah.
Aye.
There are
That
two
motion
ayes.
carries. The agenda is adopted and the minutes from July 22nd are accepted. The next order of business on our agenda is a discussion of the 10 arbitration decisions that have been overturned since 2005. This item was referred to the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee by the full commission at the July 13 meeting. We have not yet received all 10 decisions from the city attorney's office. I will now open the floor to discussion with my fellow commissioner, and I will call on myself to share information with my fellow commissioner, which is that we're looking for 10 decisions. Right now, we only have 3, and those 3 have been attached, and I believe we received them via email as well. I don't feel comfortable having much of a discussion about them or making any kind of conclusions about them because it's obviously not a representative sample. What I understand from city staff is that those 3 were on hand for whatever reason with the city attorneys, so they were able to just sort of hand them to me quickly. And the other 7 live with the Minneapolis Police Records Unit. So we're waiting for the police records unit to turn them over, and that hasn't happened. So that's all the information I have about that. Commissioner Sylvester, did you have any, I don't know, anything?
I mean, I'm not I don't know if that's what they're saying, I mean, if there's 10 of these things since 2005 and nobody has a copy in an email, you know what I mean? Like that, okay.
It's really frustrating, and arbitrations are supposed to be publicly available items anyhow. So I don't know what the holdup is. And when I give my chair summary at the full commission meeting, I would like to, bring this up as just the further difficulty that we have in accessing records.
Commissioner Chair Sarah, if I might, I believe Joel Fussy had given some information about that the 3 that they had were ones that had already had the private data redacted because of a previous request, and the other 7 are still waiting on the redactions, I believe. And I will see if I can find his email for you, but that was what the information I was given.
Thanks. And that makes some sense, although I will note that those arbitrations decisions, although they were overturned with a lower level of discipline So it would still be public record because there was this discipline, this lower discipline, and it was final. So, but you know, I know Mr. Fussy is, and you have given me what you have. You know, I don't mean to shoot the messenger with this. It's just frustrating because we've been trying to talk about arbitration for several months now, so it's tough. I will now open the floor to public comment from the community on this sort of not substantive topic. We will limit the public comment period to as much time as you want because it's really not much to talk about. Would anyone like to make a public comment? Please press
Yeah.
*6 to unmute.
Okay. Hi, this is Dave Bicking, and yeah, I think I said it last month that this is really unacceptable, that they should be able to do this. We, in Communities United Against Police Brutality, have been routinely requesting all of the complete discipline files in cases where there was some discipline and therefore a public. And the arbitration decisions are part of those files. I'm pretty sure we have most, if not all, of those other 7 already redacted in our information. I kind of wanted to see if the city would give these to you, but since they seem to be dragging their feet and since there seems to be no date that they're promised on, I may take a look at what we have here and send you what we have, because as I say, I believe all of these are ones that we should have gotten and have gotten, and the redactions are done. So I think they're just stiffing you on this, frankly. And I agree that without a representative sample, there's not much you can do. I'll note that one of the cases, 2 of the cases are quite old, before the OPCR. And one of the cases, the incident was just a few months before the OPCR started its work. It was reported in Internal Affairs in 2014, and in 2016 they made some further steps on it, and finally the arbitration decision is dated in 2017, indicating that some of these things take a rather long time. But at this point, and I haven't looked at them real thoroughly again to review them. They were all 3 of them familiar to me. I remember these cases, but without looking further at them right now, I can't draw a whole lot of conclusions. But yes, please let me know if you do get these cases from the city. Otherwise, I'll look up and see what I can provide to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bicking, and I just want to thank you again for the presentation you made on arbitration that sort of kicked off this discussion. So we appreciate that engagement.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, if we can't get this information from the city, I make a mean apple crisp. I'll trade you a pan of homemade apple crisp for some redacted decisions. You just let me know.
Fair.
All right.
Sounds fair. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public comments? I don't think anyone else is on the line. So thanks to Mr. Bicking. I will now move to, I make a motion to continue this discussion item to September 23rd meeting, and I ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Sylvester.
Aye.
Chair Sarah.
Aye.
There are 2 ayes.
That motion carries, and the item is continued to September 23rd, 2021. Next on our agenda is a discussion of misdemeanor arrests and citations. Since we are still waiting on the requested data pertaining to this matter, we're kind of in the same situation. We do have some data on the agenda. Mary Ellen Hang from the Minneapolis City Attorney's Office, the criminal division, was kind enough to voluntarily provide me her data. It's a little different than what we asked for, so let me just take a moment to explain. Her office retains charging and resolution data, so cases that were charged and were either, dismissed or pleaded guilty or jury trial or, all those things. So it's not, it probably correlates very, very strongly to arrest rates, but it's a little different because it is possible to be arrested, but ultimately not charged. So there is a little bit of a gap. And there is one demographic item that I would like. Ms. Hang's office doesn't track address. That's just not a demographic they track, but the police department does. And what I requested was what percentage or what number of individuals arrested had no permanent address listed or 1010 Curry listed as a permanent address. It doesn't give us 100% of the individuals who are homeless or housing insecure, but it gets us pretty close. And so I just really wanted that as part of our discussion around homelessness and misdemeanors. And Ms. Hang is not able to provide that. She said you're gonna have to get it from the city. And for the record, I've been requesting this data since I think my first request was in April. And I don't know when I'm gonna get it. So is there any discussion from Commissioner Sylvester on that point?
I guess just a point of information, anybody watching this on the internet at a later date, 1010 Curry is the address of the Harbor Lights shelter in downtown Minneapolis that the Salvation Army runs. And people do have the opportunity to get mail there if they don't either have a general address or I'm sorry, general delivery address.
Thanks. And when I was a public defender, I did have a number of clients who used that as their mailing address, and it showed up on the police as their permanent address because that's how the police department marked it.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any public comment from, I guess I can just call on Mr. Bicking. Did you have anything to say? If there's no public comment.
Here I am finally. Sorry about that. Yes, I could comment on that. Unfortunately, in CUAPB, we do not have the demographic data on this sort of thing, but we have been looking at the the police response to people who have been experiencing homelessness in terms of bookings at the Hennepin County Jail. And for that, we look at the address to determine who is likely to be homeless. There's a lot of people who are listed simply as NPA, no permanent address. But there are a number of other people who have an address that, if you don't know any better, looks like just a regular residential address. But we have a very complete, I believe, list of addresses used by people who are experiencing homelessness, either as a place where they are staying or as a place, as you say, where you can get mail. There's a thing, I can't remember the name of it now, at 740 East 17th Street near Chicago and Franklin, where that shows up a lot also in there. And we know it's people who are homeless because no one can stay there overnight. So we know that isn't an address where they're actually living. And again, it's a place where they can get that. So we have a list of about 25 addresses. So again, I'd be very happy to provide that to you if you can manage to get addresses in the data from the city. I hope that would be helpful. I'm really glad you're doing this study, and that would be helpful to us for our information as well, the demographic data. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bicking. That would be very helpful, and really anything you can share would be more than I have right now. So I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And I should say thank you to the Criminal Division and Mary Ellen Hang for voluntarily sharing what they do have. I really appreciate that partnership and collaboration. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to continue this item to September 23rd, 2021. I regret that I have to do this. It's really important work, but I don't think we can do much else right now.
Yeah, so moved. And I will say that's the Opportunity Center. That address is the Opportunity Center that Catholic Charities runs on Chicago and 17th. They do some really amazing work with food, service connection, of course, mail delivery, that sort of thing. So that's the Opportunity Center. And so
thank you. I've forgotten the name.
Would the clerk call roll, please?
Commissioner Sylvester,
aye.
Chair Sarah.
Aye.
There are 2 ayes.
That motion carries and that item is continued to September 23rd, 2021. The next order of business is the acceptance of public comments. I will open the floor and invite comments from the community. Is there anyone on the line who would wish to address the commission in addition to earlier remarks?
I think that wraps it up for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bicking. I really appreciate your engagement with us. I will direct the clerk to receive and file these comments in this discussion. With that, regretfully, we've concluded all our items on the agenda for this meeting. I regret that we didn't have a more substantive discussion. I did decide to call the meeting and not cancel it because we had so many meetings canceled in 2020, and even this year we had several canceled, so I thought it was important to at least connect. So thank you for being here, Commissioner Sylvester. I didn't mean to waste your time or the community's time, but I appreciate the engagement. Seeing no further business to come before us, and without objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned.